Hey, today Heather and I are going to unpack San Luis Obispo's mysterious 5 cities. And the 5 cities is a little bit misunderstood, and for good reason, really. First of all, it isn't even made up of 5 cities, actually. And there has been some confusion about what cities are even included. So if you're thinking of moving to one of these communities and want to learn a little bit about what the heck is going on before diving into your own Google research, then stay tuned, my friends.
For context, first we need to understand that this is not a huge area at all. Pismo Beach sits at the northern end with Oceano at the southern end, and there's only 6 miles separating the two. And the population of all 5 cities combined is only 40,000. So compare that to a city like Santa Barbara, which has 90,000 people in it, and we're talking only 40,000 for all 5 of the 5 cities.
Okay, so let's just list out the cities first so that we know exactly what we're talking about here. So number 1, Pismo Beach. Number 2, Shell Beach. Number 3, Grover Beach. Number 4, Arroyo Grande. And number 5, Oceano.
So first up is Pismo Beach. So what do we need to know about Pismo Beach besides the fact that it's crawling with people at the pier all summer long? Well, the population of Pismo Beach is about 8,000 people, and there's so much to do there. There's a ton of fun, restaurants and bars.
Beach volleyball.
The pier and the beach, of course.
The Pismo golf course.
Surfing and
Yada, yada, yada. Pismo is one of those classic Southern California flat, sandy beaches. And if you don't know much about it yet, well then perhaps maybe you should consider moving out of your cave.
You can find a ton of information about Pismo Beach online, but the best way to find out about Pismo is to drive yourself on down there. It is incredibly fun and beautiful, and it's no surprise that it's a famous destination here on our Central Coast.
Real estate is not cheap here though, and I think the question that might make the most sense to ask about prices is, what would $1 million get you there?
Not much.
If you want kind of a normal sized house with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, then plan to be on the east side of 101 with a very small lot, probably pretty close to the Highway 101, without an ocean view. And our data tells us that if you want to be on the ocean side of 101, then $1 million in purchasing power will get you a small 2-bedroom cottage fixer on a very small lot. And if you want a house with a large enough yard to keep a doggo happy and a killer ocean view, then you need to be ready to start at least $1.5 million.
All right, so next is Shell Beach.
Next.
Shell Beach. What the heck is up with Shell Beach being one of the 5 cities? It is not a city. It's actually a neighborhood within the city of Pismo Beach. So if you start to search around online for information on Shell Beach, you're not going to find much info. We have 0 clues what the population is there because there's no census because it's not a city. And there's even an argument about how many beaches are there. Some say 7, some say 9. Who knows? What we do know about the beaches in Shell Beach is that they are beautiful, but they're not the flat, expansive, sandy beaches like you get in Pismo Beach. In fact, at high tide, some of these beaches disappear completely, and you have to make a hike down a steep, kind of cliffy trail to get to any of them at low tide.
The good thing about that though is that it's a little bit easier to find a little bit more of that personal space when Pismo and Avila are just crawling with people.
True.
There are some really nice hotels and restaurants that sit right over the top of the water. This really is a stunning place to live. And prices? I'd say entry level is probably going to be right around that $1 million mark, and it goes up quickly from there. I did recently see a sale in the mid-6s though, but it was for a 1-bedroom, 2-story condo with a shared wall on a teeny tiny little lot right on the freeway, has no yard space, and an HOA of over $400 a month.
Yikes.
If you want to be on the ocean side of 101 and have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a decent sized yard, I'd say be ready to start at least $1.5 million. And we did see a sale for over $5 million in 2022. So if you're looking for something a little bit more on that luxury side, we can definitely find that there too. All right, let's move away from the beach for a minute here and head on over to Arroyo Grande.
Arroyo Grande, also known as AG. And the first thing to know about AG is that the east side of the freeway is actually the more popular part of town, which is unusual for our county. It is a much larger area of land than the rest of the 5 cities, and you'll find ag, vineyard, and farm, along with the back way to SLO, which is very scenic and leads you through the Edna Valley. You'll also find the quaint village of Arroyo Grande with shops and wine tasting. It's a historic little part of Arroyo Grande that also attracts some tourists. Arroyo Grande does not have any oceanfront property, but it does still have the coastal influence.
Definitely.
Some people describe it as Paso Robles a little closer to the ocean with a little bit more moderate weather at a higher price point.
I hadn't heard that before.
Besides the farms and vineyards, you'll also find some developments with your city-sized lots, sidewalks, parks, and shopping.
Now the other side of AG feels a lot more like the rest of the 5 cities. It runs into Grover Beach pretty quickly as you head west from the 101. And then on the south side, it transitions into agricultural land pretty quickly as you head down towards Nipomo. Arroyo Grande is the most populous of the 5 cities with around 18,500 people running around, but still, pretty small city. And hey, we can't talk about Arroyo Grande without discussing Lopez Lake, the water slides, and the very cool obstacle course out there, especially since there's so much water in the lake this year. It's going to be a great summer for all the kiddos and the boaters out there for sure. We used to go out there and camp most summers growing up, and I'd say over the last 20 years, it's only gotten more fun.
As far as pricing goes, it is possible to get into Arroyo Grande for under $500,000. But that's only if you're willing to live in a 1,000 square foot condo or townhome. Most of the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet homes are going to start more in the 700s. Prices go up from there, of course, depending on yard space, location, and your house size. In the rural areas of Arroyo Grande, we also want to mention there are some of the most gorgeous equestrian properties that you can find in our county, and those are going to start at about $2 million and up.
All right, let's move on over to Grover Beach. Now, Heather, Grover Beach is indeed a beach town, but the question is, how much beach could a Grover Beach beach if a Grover Beach could beach?
I'm already confused.
I'm sorry, but seriously, the question is how much of a beach town really is Grover Beach? Now, I might be coming across as a little bit of a hater here, but the fact is that Grover Beach only has around a mile of coastline. And the beach that is there is largely made up by the Oceano Dunes Vehicular State Park. Then you go to the north and you run right into the Pismo Beach golf course.
Sometimes it does feel like Grover Beach has gone through a little bit of an identity crisis. They used to be Grover City, now they're Grover Beach. But the bottom line is you're not going to find at the beachfront or many expansive ocean views, and you're not going to get that Pismo-esque kind of feeling when you do head down to the beach. The Monarch Butterfly Grove is really, really cool. A fun place to take the family, and it sits right at the north side of Grover Beach as you're heading into Pismo Beach. Aside from that, there's some really fantastic little neighborhoods in Grover Beach, and pricing varies. As you get closer to the ocean, the more expensive it becomes, of course.
I actually really like Grover. It's a killer little tiny town with awesome weather and central to all kinds of awesome places. You've got easy access to amazing restaurants, beaches, hiking trails, and the whole town sits a little bit further away from Highway 101 than Shell Beach and Pismo Beach do. It really is A-okay in my book. And did you know that a house here closed for $415,000 last year?
I cannot believe that.
Believe it, but it was 408 square feet on a 2,000 square foot lot. But then on the other hand, there were a handful of closings for over $1 million. But most are going to run in that 700 to 800K range if you're looking for a decent sized square footage house with a nice yard.
All right, our fifth and final city. Let me tell you what is up with Oceano. I feel like Oceano is kind of looked at like the forgotten little stepchild of the 5 cities, don't you think, Colin?
Yeah, sort of.
And it's not actually a city either, just like Shell Beach. But unlike Shell Beach, it is an unincorporated town with its own community services district.
But don't you think that Oceano could be about to have a breakthrough moment?
What do you think is holding Oceano back from blooming into a more well-known community?
Should we be advising folks to buy there because it's going to become the next Avila Beach?
Maybe it's not the forgotten stepchild and we're just missing out.
You know what I think is happening with Oceano? I think it's just a tiny little town of about 7,000 people that sits on the very southern edge of a poorly misunderstood 5 cities.
And there were actually more recent $1 million sales in Oceano than in Grover Beach, so that's saying something.
That's saying something.
Prices are remarkably similar to Grover Beach, although there's much more limited inventory, so you need to stay on your toes if you're looking for something in Oceano. And there will be changes coming to Oceano as of March of 2024. There'll be no more vehicular use of vehicles on the dunes, so we will be seeing a change to that area.
This could be the breakthrough moment. And let's wrap this up with a little bit of fun Oceano history. Oceano was originally the home of Halcyon, a utopian religious community that was established in 1903 by the Theosophical Temple of the People, based in Syracuse, New York. The group believed in channeling unseen electromagnetic forces in an effort to attain human perfection. Pretty fancy, eh?
And strange.
And Oceano was officially founded in 1948 by Catherine Nemo, a doctor of chiropractic from the Netherlands, and Ruben Abramowitz of the U.S. Vegan Society. They established the first vegan society in the United States, which lasted from 1948 to 1960 and was a predecessor to today's American Vegan Society. So for all you vegans watching, know your history. This is where it all began. Pretty amazing, right?
Yes, and if all of you out there want to watch a video without anything strange like that, that's all about the San Luis Obispo neighborhoods, click the link below for our video about 5 of the top neighborhoods in SLO.